Canada and the entire continent of North America is in mourning. Brother André is dead. Brother André is no more. During the night of January the 5th, 1937, at precisely 12:50 a.m., the man who for 40 years was an unknown porter at Notre Dame College before becoming internationally venerated as the miracle worker of Mount Royal, rendered his soul to God at the age of 91 in the L'Espérance Sisters Hospital in Saint-Laurent. Carried by the radio and newspaper, the word of his death spread like the wind to the four corners of the country, as well as through the United States, where special trains were made available to the pilgrims in cities of Maine, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, New Hampshire, and Vermont. The multitude of faithful who wished to see the remains of this sainted man before his internment far exceeded anything ever seen before, to the point where posterity will recall the apotheosis of this man's appeal as legendary. There were over 1 million people. For nearly a week, the mortal remains were lying in state in an open coffin. It was decided not to embalm the corpse, a real act of faith given the circumstances. The casket was surrounded by a forest of mementos, which bore testimony of his enormous popularity. For 6 days and 6 nights, the faithful filed by the modest wooden casket at a rate of 100 people a minute. By special permission, the blind were allowed to pause momentarily next to the body and touch the forehead of the deceased.
But what is this all about?
What it's about, Father Clement, is that we've been talking for many years of transferring Brother André to Memram Cook, and so far we've done nothing.
In conformity with the wishes of the Superior General, this council has to make a decision. What is your opinion, Brother Henry?
It is nothing new. It has been going on since you sent Brother André to, as he said himself, the other side of the tracks, so as to receive his people. That as prefect of discipline, I have been unable to bring him into line.
Yet he continued to fulfill his duties as porter.
You've counted how many miracles, Brother André?
Until further notice, we will refer to them as healing instead of miracles.
In any case, he gave me back my eyesight.
The number of barrels of oil that I have bought for the oratory that are paid for by the college has tripled since the Eucharistic Congress. The figures I have in the debits column for the expenses of the oratory are higher than ever, and I have yet to write anything in the credits column.
But surely you're not going to recommend to the Superior General to transfer Brother André to Memram Cook?
Ah, but anywhere else would be a waste of time.
But Memram Cook in New Brunswick is far away.
Far and deserted. Exactly.
And you will have, as is usual, no choice, Brother André, but to obey.
11th station. Jesus is nailed to the cross. We adore you, Jesus, and we bless you.
Because you have redeemed the world through your holy cross.
This, my Lord, it makes no more sense. Forgive me. It hurts too much. The man who is hammering and hammering doesn't even hear you. As if he were hammering nails into a board. It makes you want to grab him by the shoulders. What are you doing? Do you realize? This is Jesus Christ, the Son of God, who did so much good with these hands, like nobody did before, or will again. Those two thieves, those with each crack of the hammer, they cried, "Not you, no, not you." I pray you, Lord, teach us how to bear it in silence.
Thank you, Brother André. Oh, isn't he wonderful?
Beautiful.
Oh.
Thank you, Brother André.
Oh, it was well. Actually, my sister wanted to talk to him.
Uncle Alfred, at last! My mother, grandmother too, told me if he doesn't recognize you, just tell him that. Do you want to fight?
Marie-Esther, Clotilde's girl. Oh!
You got it. I was 3 years old. I wasn't allowed, so they say, to go into your porter's cell. Neither my mother or grandmother or you could keep me from going in.
No wonder your big brothers wanted to beat you up.
Oh, not anymore. The 5 of them are all gone. I'm the only one left at home.
Still in,
West Warwick, Rhode Island.
I guess it's the Eucharistic Congress that brought you around here.
You, much more than the Eucharistic Congress.
Oh, come on now.
And by the way, there's a lot more people that come here than Notre Dame Church and the cathedral.
Oh, come on now, Marie-Esther, that's pure nonsense.
But I came 3 times to see you, packed with people, no way to even come close to you. That's the truth.
If you say so.
I had to wait after everything was locked up.
What do you want me so badly for?
Just look at me. Straight in the eyes, Uncle. Do you think I have the calling?
You came all the way over here to ask an old goat like me.
The nuns in the convent in West Warwick and the pastor said that I have it, same as you.
No.
My brother, my mother, my grandmother, and the love of my life told me to ask you, Uncle Alfred.
And what makes them think, the nuns and the pastor, that you have the calling?
I can't stop asking myself, why is there so much suffering out there? In the poor areas near us, working in the factories, it's really no joke. You know what it's like. You went through it years ago. You see, between Leonard's father, who is Irish, and his mother, who is French, like me and you, things aren't going very well. So the pastor and the nun say that with Leonard and me, it wouldn't work out any better. But that if I entered the order, things would be better. Oh boy, I see red when I hear that. I'm all mixed up. I don't know anymore. Do I let go of Leonard? Do I hold on to Leonard? When I say I love him, it's no joke.
But you just have to follow your heart if you love him that much. Little runts like you don't make very good nuns anyway.
Oh, with you, it's so simple, just so simple.
Oh, no.
Oh, you don't know, you just don't know. All the worries that I had.
Oh, there.
Boy, and Leonard will be so happy.
It's even better. Excuse me.
You're leaving? I gotta go already.
I got things to do.
Oh, I know it's real late and you had a heavy day on your shoulder and that you're gonna have an even worse one tomorrow. The fathers down at the college told me to leave whenever you would say so.
What fathers?
But if you only knew all the messages that the whole family, especially Grandma Leocadie, you know, if you only knew all the things Grandma wants to know about you.
That's good. That's good.
You're gonna come back down? Should I wait?
Yeah. Go on, back downstairs.
Lift him up very gently. That's right.
Thank you. Now you go on down.
This isn't where you live, is it?
Go on, go on.
Where do you sleep then, in here?
Hard-headed Bissett. Go on, get downstairs.
And the nuns, when they clean up here, does the good Lord strike them down? No? Well, me neither. Aw, come on.
You got no business here.
Grandma Leocadie sure was right when she said you weren't a reasonable man.
Well, she sure was right. Now go on. I usually leave it open. It was so I wouldn't wake them up when I did the way of the cross, that I closed it up.
I understand why you wanted to stay here.
You know, the pastor and the nuns in West Warwick, they've got good reason to believe that you should enter the order.
You didn't change your mind there.
No. Come on. We're going into the chapel now. Cover your head.
No. There's nobody here but you and me, right?
And him.
He can't possibly be upset with me only for that, not him. Do you always clean up around here?
Well, sometimes. Most of the time it's the sextons, the brothers or the nuns.
And today?
Too many visitors, you saw? Until very late tonight.
You mad at me?
No.
Do you want me to be quiet in the chapel?
No.
You sure now? I won't talk loud.
Right.
Do you think that Grandma Leocadie, because of her age, could be getting a little dotty?
Leocadie. It'd be surprising.
Is it true you always thought she was a grump?
A bit.
And she said that when your parents died, that it was her, Leocadie, who had taken care of you. Well, a little. And that it was her, by sending you to see Father Provençal, who started that whole thing about your calling, right? Is she right, eh?
Mama. No, she wasn't a grump at all. Had a great devotion for Saint Joseph. The most forgotten of the Holy Family, she'd say. A carpenter, just like your father. One night in Saint Césaire Church.
At that huge church there?
Yes. One evening after the month of Mary, instead of leaving, well, I sat down in front of Saint Joseph's altar.
You stayed sitting there for a long time? 45 minutes, an hour? 2 hours? Was he answering you, Saint Joseph? You could hear him? Really?
Yes, inside.
How is that?
Your Leonard. Don't you hear him all day long inside of you? Doesn't he hear you all day long inside of him?
You were really that much in love with him?
Yes, with him. Jesus, Mary, and all the others.
And then what?
I didn't know that behind me there was Father Provençal and Brother Aldrich standing beside the big altar. Well, I continued chatting with Saint Joseph.
He has never studied theology, has barely any schooling, has almost never worked, not a cent, poor health. What should I do with him?
Uncle Alfred? Uncle Alfred? And?
Well, Father Provençal didn't wait another minute. He grabbed me by the scruff of the neck and he put me down here at old Notre Dame College, down here on Côte de Neige.
You were known in the world as Alfred Bisset. You will be known henceforth in the Congregation of Holy Cross by the name Brother André.
In honor of?
Well, Father André Provençal.
You will be the porter, lamplighter, and nurse. Sweeper of the chapel and the corridors, stairways. You will take wood to the chambers. You will also tend to the laundry. The barber to the students, stable boy. You will repair the cassocks of the fathers and the brothers. You will make the woolen cords which they use for the waist belts. Yes.
He was another superior?
Those orders came from the provincial superior.
Well, he really piled it on you.
As long as they let me stay here.
You cannot take the temporary vows. Because of the state of your health, we do believe that you will never be admitted into the order.
What did he mean by that?
Maybe they wouldn't keep me. My health was not all that good.
Will you stop dipping dry bread into skim milk? You can't make me believe it's your stomach that doesn't want you to. Down some good cabbage soup from Brother Ignatius' garden. Won't you please try even one spoonful? This wouldn't be penitence or high virtue, would it? Why won't you sneak some while no one's around? If only you'd take your meals in the refectory with the other brothers and fathers.
And why would you want to eat alone?
A porter? Well, I didn't really belong with the others. Somebody had to answer the door. It all worked out in the end, in my favor. The old Father Hupier.
The fathers on the council are all wondering, like Sister Gertrude in the kitchen, who could be sustaining you? How is it possible for you to do all that work when you're eating so little? You will be taking, shortly, your vows of profession as a brother of Holy Cross.
My heart, you understand, was pounding so hard. Finally, I'd be taking my vows. The community would never send me away, ever.
They never wanted to send you away.
No. But the old father...
What is wrong, Uncle?
He suffered so badly through the winters here. The doctor at the college came to see him up here. One night in February.
That dear Dr. Charette cannot understand why our Superior General would have me sent here at my age. I believed I was still useful, well-rooted, back in France. But here I am. The Provincial Superior is sending me next year, or so it seems, to Memrem Cook, out in New Brunswick.
With that cold sea breeze, I was telling him, the provincial superior can't send you there. You'll probably freeze to death.
Tossed about like... You too know what it's like to be tossed about, don't you?
Ah, from when I was 12. Well, I hopped from one job to another. In Saint-Césaire, all around near you in the States. And were they going to send me off in a way just like him from one place to another?
Oh, when you have been tossed about unreasonably when you are younger, then you may not have to bear much pain when you are older.
The moment he revealed that to me, I understood. I didn't know where to begin to thank him.
Could you please take just a little bit of oil out of the lamp of the sanctuary?
I didn't know what he wanted it for.
In this new country, Canada, you haven't yet resorted to this practice. In the old France, it is in common usage.
I took it and I put a bit of hot oil in a bowl, a little one made of porcelain. And when it was cool enough, coated his ear like he wanted it. I watched how my mother rubbed some lard on all our scratches, real gentle like. So I did the same. Is that really going to be able to chase away the pain? I asked the old father.
It happens that the physical pain vanishes, maybe not every time. St. Joseph's oil, as we refer to it back home, because we take it from the lamps that burn in front of his altar. It may not always benefit the body, but it always did help the soul and fortified it. Of course, as long as they had faith, and they plagued St. Joseph. To pester him, as you said yourself. As I was saying, if the pain becomes acute, let it be the will of God. Since a great number hear nothing and do not wish to listen to the suffering, it is up to the chosen like you and me to render them the service of suffering for them and with them, so that the mystery of the passion reveals itself in any way, even the slightest of ways, unto their eyes.
I had no more oil. I wanted to get him some more.
Not for me, no. But from now on, you will do it for others.
Do it from now on for others. And this is when I began to do it for others. I continued doing my laundry chores. Once or twice a week, I'd harness Napoleon to the buggy in the summer or to the sleigh in the winter. And I'd exchange the bundles of dirty laundry for suitcases of clean clothing at the parents of the students of Côte de Neige, the ones who were boarders. One of the women, her husband had pains in his kidneys. So I told her to try, if she wanted to, some of Father Hupier's oil, St. Joseph's oil. But to pray to St. Joseph otherwise? It wasn't long before she turned up at the main door with her mother and a neighbor. Then others started coming. The students' parents began to grumble. Is the porter of the college turning his quarters into an infirmary? And some of the fathers and some brothers didn't look on it too kindly at all. The old Father Hupier was telling me to keep going. How I listened to him. And when he had the time, I'd go see him. And spend my evenings in the chapel of the old college.
If you do decide to follow the ascension, the rise which since your childhood you have embarked upon, thanks to your mother, you will know such joy and hours of beatitude. You will also know deep sorrows and hours of great despair.
Could it really be happening to me? The old father didn't doubt it at all.
In our ascent towards the one that we call God, St. John of the Cross saw it in 3 steps, each one being like one night. The first one, as it is written, is a long night of purification, just as we burn metal to remove the scaling. You may also find yourself having to endure a second step, a terrible night of blackness, arid, night so black, filled with dread, with the weight of the cross that is crushing you. It will seem as if God had deserted you. My God, why hast thou forsaken me?
He couldn't do that to me. I couldn't bear it.
Alone, but of course. No.
What will be if I'm abandoned?
Did God our Father truly abandon Jesus Christ on the cross?
Less than ever.
Less than ever. Christ lived, so to speak, at the same time both the second step and the third step. As in a night of stars, as in a night of transfiguration, in which the soul melts into one with God.
My heart is always open to you, Father Ripier.
Such precious hours. I tell you, of me blossoms that flower into eternity.
He spoke to me, all cuddled up in front of the wood furnace like this one, in the middle of the chapel of the old college.
Dear old father, That old St. Joseph's oil, did it work?
Oh, you bet it did.
Will you tell me what is going on, Father Gastineau? If your porter is unable to do his work, if he can't go and fetch the students in the college, who will do it?
I'll see to it, Mr. Couture. I'll see to it. Do not worry.
And what are these stories about bronchitis, chicken pox, hives and measles, and all those crowds of cackling women? They waltz around like they're in a barnyard.
Well, Father Gastineau wasn't amused at all.
Brother André, you will tell all these women that as porter, your post doesn't allow you to take care of every disease and infirmity in Cotoneige. You do understand me, don't you?
And I kept telling all those women.
And they kept on coming?
And it rumbled and grumbled. But not just for that.
Who here decides if a child with a contagious disease and a fever of 103 degrees can leave the infirmary and is well enough to play in the yard? The college doctor, or is it Brother Porter?
You know who we're talking about, Brother André. The young cardinal boy.
How long did you have to rub that one down for? While invoking who and reciting what?
Nothing like that, I told him. I just walked by him. He seemed to be all right.
He was boiling. 102 3/5. Verified. Not 2 hours ago.
But he hadn't any more fever.
The doctor made a mistake?
Oh, no.
From now on, you keep your nose in your own business, understand?
Did you speak to the child?
Me? All I said was go out and play.
By whose authority, I pray you?
If ever in the future you witness a similar phenomenon, you will advise Dr. Charette.
Ah, but more than that. He will be forbidden access to the infirmary.
Did you go there often?
Every day.
I never want to see him here.
Understood, understood.
And this rubbing of St. Joseph's oil on the whole of Côte de Neige will have to stop as of today.
We will see to it, Doctor. We will see to it.
The Father Superior said I could come up, that I was allowed to, just like your niece.
You saw the Superior?
I had no choice. Well, me neither. The two young policemen didn't want to open the gate. They sent me off to ask permission to Father Superior, who was walking along with Father Clement in front of the college. It's still all lit up at this hour.
All right, anyway.
It's about my William. He's put his left shoulder out almost a week ago. I had it put back in, but I don't know if they did something wrong or not.
Are you able to move your shoulder at all?
Actually, no. I wanted to come and see you, but with the Eucharistic Congress, it's just been alive with people. You just get crushed in the crowd. It's supposed to be even worse tomorrow. Brother André is going to be real gentle, don't worry. It doesn't hurt on both sides, eh? The right one's okay.
Don't move.
That's right, William. You just do what Brother André tells you to. I'm so happy that we finally managed to see you. You don't know how much this means to us. That's right, William. Feel any better?
Give him time.
Have confidence in Brother André and in St. Joseph as
Look,
well.
your mother's going to take it home. She'll rub the oil the same way. And she's going to keep pestering Saint Joseph. You do the same, hmm? Then she'll take you to see the doctor. Okay?
If you could only sleep through the night and let us get some rest. Your father works hard and I'm doing the best I can.
A big boy like you doesn't bawl, eh? That's my boy.
You're so good, Brother André. You're so good. Is, your niece staying at Madame Cardinal's tonight? She'd like to know about what time you'll be coming down.
Later, I'll see to it. You take care now. Good night, William.
Good night.
His oil of Saint Joseph, for me, no thanks. I won't pamper myself.
Well.
And when a Breton like him says no, it's no. But one afternoon in February, on the doorstep of the college... Ah!
A real deep cut.
Down to the bone.
Ooh.
Then gangrene starts setting in.
Call me what, if you please, Dr. Parizeau?
As you can see, the inflammation runs from the ankle to the thigh. It's starting to blacken. You've had this injury since...
About 5 weeks.
You called me only today?
Well, we could not anticipate such aggravation.
Well, this is quite a strong patient who has, until now, resisted the infection.
How old are you?
51.
What did you put on this, Charette?
First, I administered, with some success, a coat of pine gum.
Pardon?
Well, an old wives' remedy that's as good as any other, no?
And after that?
Then ointment's absolutely worthless.
In which you had every confidence?
I had confidence.
But despite all this, gentlemen, now tell us, what is your diagnosis, your decision?
For now, he will have to stay off that leg, yes?
Mm-hmm.
And if the swelling doesn't start going down, if it keeps on spreading...
No other choice than amputation.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not so sure about this, but go get me some of your oil.
I always wake up the brothers and the fathers by knocking at their door and saying Benedicamus Domino. That morning, at his door, I had barely said Benedicamus.
Come in. It's incredible. The crust is dry, and the pain is gone.
Cured right then.
Thanks to who?
So he wrote to France. His letter fell into the hands of a journalist of Montreal who was traveling back there. And as soon as he came back home, the headlines were as big as this.
Can't Brother Aldrich come out and tell us himself what he wrote?
Look at all this commotion you've created, Mr. Journalist.
It's not my doing, it's Brother Andre's.
You wrote this article.
And I'd like a statement from your Brother Aldrich and from Brother André in person.
You must understand that Brother André just can't see you under these circumstances.
You're the superior. You know what's going on. What do you have to say? What is your opinion on this miraculous healing?
I do not agree with the way in which you have run after sensationalism when we would have appreciated a bit more discretion.
A faith healer on the other side of Mount Royal.
No.
The next day, the crowds washed up from the lower parts of town like a river in spring. No way of stopping it. Filling the corridor, trying to break my door down. I was afraid of being crushed.
No oil has ever cured anyone from blood poisoning.
You examined me, doctor, the night before I was here.
You were walking.
Not without my crutches.
You were eating.
No!
You were drinking concoction.
I spit out half of it.
You swallowed the rest. You were fighting against the illness.
That isn't what cured me.
Ah, you're a doctor. You had it verified clinically.
But it was so swollen that it was oozing right through the bandages. You were all ready to amputate.
Oh, amputate. Now, really?
Well, I was suffering like a bear caught in a trap. I couldn't sleep. I was fading away to nothing. So I used some of Saint Joseph oil.
Aren't there enough charlatans, faith healers, or witch doctors throughout the province that we need one here in Montreal?
Show me another one like him.
You'll never get me to believe in his greasing.
But you can't stop me from believing it. Those who refuse to see become blind. They shut their eyes. We have entered an era of exact science. I don't disagree. I'm not saying that there's nothing in their science. But to say that there's nothing in our faith, that's all we need now. A pretty dispute, which is not about to finish. And you are right in the middle of it. In between. How's that make you feel?
Not very big at all, I would say.
I'm afraid that you will never again have peace.
One Sunday, that journalist even forced his way in here before visiting hours.
Do you feel any emotion when you perform a miracle?
It wasn't up to me or him to say I had performed miracles.
Then who?
Oh, the bishop, or I don't know.
Do you consider yourself a healer or a miracle worker?
Listen once and for all. Saint Joseph is using me to heal the bodies or the souls of people. Call it whatever you want.
But what do you feel inside when you heal someone?
Nothing.
For real now?
Sometimes, like a force coming from my fingers.
Did you not heal Martin Hannon?
It wasn't me.
Saint Joseph, if you insist. And against all the laws of nature, as it seems. But Martin Hannon first appealed to Saint Anne in Beaupré, who sent him back on his crutches. He comes here and he leaves walking on his own 2 feet. How do you explain that? Saint Anne would be losing some, Saint Joseph gaining some?
I don't know all their secrets up there. Could be that Saint Anne was snowed under and Saint Joseph needed more work.
Is it true that since birth, your stomach cannot digest properly?
Sometimes I can keep a meal down, other times I just can't.
Is it true that you go through periods when you eat or digest practically nothing?
At times.
Long periods?
Aren't you finished?
What about these days?
Nothing stays down.
It burns?
Yeah.
There's a doctor who can't understand how you're able to survive under conditions like these.
So what? So what?
Dr.
Lamy.
While your fame is spreading throughout Canada and the United States...
Will you stop it now?
The order keeps you on the lowest of echelons, and still you are washing floors.
And they're right. Now that's enough. Will you leave me in peace?
Was it like that often? No way to escape it?
I used to say, couldn't you please, my lord, continue wanting me forgotten in my corner of the porter's hall?
In a sense, for you, it's too bad that you can't be left in peace.
I'm not the only one who thought that way.
Brother André, within the walls of this brand new college, I wish to see a new spirit prevail. In collusion with the sacristan brother, you have squeezed out of a certain lamp in this sanctuary enough oil to grease down the walls and the floors of the old college. It's no longer a matter of question. From now on, this college will breathe order and tidiness. Your porter cell will not serve as an infirmary anymore. Put a sign on your door. Ite ad Joseph. Go and see Joseph and leave me alone.
Well, what did you expect?
If it was just me who was attracting them here. But since it was much bigger than me, Saint Joseph himself who attracted them.
Oh, nothing to do with you.
Well, let's say I was like his servant on earth, but it's him who attracted them. Well, you see, with a bigger corridor, more space, there were more.
This way.
Did you not understand what I said?
But once they're inside, listen here. I can't really throw them out.
And I had forbidden the distribution of your oil.
Well, you see, that oil there for many of them is something sacred. It's almost like the hand of Saint Joseph himself.
Pardon me?
You really said that?
Without being disrespectful. I think he didn't understand. Besides, after that he just disappeared somewhere.
Oh, yeah?
He was the last French father to be superior of the college. It was Father Dion who took his place.
The great big giant that I saw down there?
Yeah.
With all of these epidemics running around, I don't like to see your scrofulous ones piling up inside the college.
I didn't like that either. Watching them coughing to death in the corridor among the students. The nights I spent in front of Saint Joseph.
The nights?
The nights. To keep an epidemic from breaking out in the college.
It isn't 50 boarders anymore that you have, Father Dion, as in the old building, but 300 adolescents. Can't you see the devastation that could be caused by an epidemic?
Have you recently ventured into the city of Montreal, Father Dion? As the port is spreading out, the city grows and grows.
Apart from a few areas, the whole of the city is a pile of old housing, unhealthy and infected.
Where one epidemic follows another.
But can you see the danger, Father Dion?
I am aware of the danger. But the more I forbid them to come and see Brother André, the more they come.
And with the tramways they've installed, all the suburbs will be rushing up here. Our children, Father Dion, our children.
You will receive from now on your people, Brother André, in the tramway station.
In the tramway station, Father Dion?
There is no other solution.
Where is Brother André? Oh my God, Brother André's here.
Get your witch doctors see you elsewhere. These are not the ones deciding the debate yours. The tramway company is going to hear about this, you can be sure.
Brother André, we love you.
Miracle work.
Come, I can't see Brother André at the college anymore.
I have to see him from up close.
It's about time.
It's not it's for my mother. She needs your oil.
It's the parents of the parties. It's Brother André.
I think it's a wonderful thing that's happened.
I'm practically cured.
I'm in terrible pain all the time. You won't be anymore.
I could only touch
The pain just left you.
But you're right, it's gone. Oh, I can't believe it.
You can go back to work now.
What was written in that battery? So we can.
No, my turn. It's for my daughter. There isn't a shred of
She has
that
to
goddamn
come.
charm on his way here.
I can't believe it. It's the eighth chance.
You cured my husband who works at the tannery from sciatica. Cure me.
Keeping us from seeing you.
How come?
What in God's name is hold up? I think he's just a... Don't tell me you've heard
It's
about
for my daughter. She's in the hospital with a great fever.
The company doesn't care at all about us.
Pray for her. Each time you say, Our Father who art in heaven, his ear is close to your mouth.
God bless you, brother.
There's enough room for all of us. Hey, open the doors. The draft's here.
When the last tram had gone away, I looked at the mountain.
You saw it for the first time?
No. My mother, when I was that high, would look across from the house at Mont Saint-Grégoire. It's just like Mount Tabor, where our Lord would go to pray at night. She whispered in my ear.
It's a pretty mountain here to spend the nights on, praying. That's it, eh? Has it been your dream? For a long time?
A good stretch of time. Because Saint Joseph kept telling me that he wanted me to climb up here. To receive my people.
You dream of acquiring the mountain, but Leonor wants the moon for it.
I think the moon is in its last quarter around this time.
Oh, really?
He still grumbled?
Oh, less and less in his old age. He was now the steward of the college, so now he mixed with businessmen. You can't really talk about the last quarter of the moon with businessmen. Well, not too long after that.
Well, good news. Your mountain, the order bought it. The proprietor, who has a bone to pick with God knows who, finally dropped his price and is selling it to us. 2 signatures after supper and it's ours. I'm interested to find out to what extent your prayers and your stomach ailments have helped to tip the balance in all of this.
Go and ask our theologians.
They're always confused anyway.
What would you have answered in their place?
When Saint Joseph has decided to get somewhere.
Saint Joseph was comfortable in a stable in Bethlehem as an apprentice carpenter from Nazareth. He mustn't feel all that bad out there with you in the tramway station.
I showed him the statuette, and I said to him, if you would permit me, if I could place it under the giant pine at the top of the mountain.
And your people would climb up there to see you. The council has decided, Brother André, that the park on the mountain will remain in the use of the students and their parents and the members of the community. Your patients have threatened to take over the college. I won't allow them to also take over the mountain.
The same Father Dion who allowed me to come up here? And what got into him?
He thought he had resolved everything by sending me to the other side of the tracks.
So to spite himself, he pushed you towards the mountain.
Mm-hmm.
A committee of promoters has been formed. They want a way of the cross on the mountain, a chapel at the summit. They're talking about meeting me. Waste of time. Stay at the foot of the mountain.
Boy, he's stubborn.
Majesté, the superior.
He's still stubborn.
An old father who knew how to use a paintbrush. He repainted the whole statue just for me. I kept it in the main entrance.
Keep holding on to that statue.
If you could learn to wait, you're so impatient.
How many years did you spend waiting in the tramway station?
8 years.
That's too long.
I will be able soon to embrace future, past, and present in a glance.
Brother Aldrich was dying?
And how it cost me.
The pretty mountain, eh? All wooded. How can you even think of cutting down such beautiful trees? Nevertheless, you cut them, Brother André. And more than one.
Some fathers and members of your committee of faithful are on the warpath again. If you only had money, Brother André, I repeat, if you only had money, Brother Abondius then could build you a little chapel, a repository altar, at the top of the mountain. You'll be able to receive your people, but nowhere other than there, and we don't want to have them everywhere. And I don't want to hear any more about it.
See the entrance? That was the chapel. That's all. The crowds kept coming and coming, so the chapel got larger and larger.
And it won't stop there.
I guess it won't.
Why are there 7 lamps?
In the story of Mary and Joseph, they say there were 7 great sorrows, 7 great joys.
Oh, really?
Don't you think you'd better go now?
Uh-uh.
Well, as you wish. Well, I've got to go and take care of the lamps now. I would prefer if you didn't come to the altar. You know it's forbidden. I told you not to come in here. You know that it's forbidden. You got away with too much already.
You're gonna burn yourself. Be careful.
I never burned myself. Go on and sit down there.
Pass me the mittens.
No.
Okay. I'll fill up the lamps with the new oil then.
The good Lord doesn't like to see one here. I'm warning you.
You'll never make me believe that.
Regulations, Marius, there are regulations.
Yes, but this night's different from the others.
If Father Dion arrives and finds you here...
After what you've told me, I got a few things to say to him.
He's redeemed himself since then, Marius, there. That's enough. Go and sit there. Pig-headed.
I will never become a nun. You're quite right there. But I envy them a little bit anyway. Let me for one night pretend I'm one of them.
You're not serious.
One night in my life, Uncle. Aw, come on. Assembly line work. You like that, eh?
Yeah, right. I never let a chance pass by me.
Is that enough? I'm going to put a bit more. I wanted to try it to see what it's like. We didn't send you to school in a good convent, my dear, just so you can go and work in a factory. My father, my mother were so insulted. My brother and Leonard as well. So you see...
You're kind of skinny. I suppose you don't do anything?
I'm working, pardon me, with Leonard in his father's store. Sales, accounting, everything.
Well, thank the good Lord.
I'm quite a bit luckier than you, eh?
Bit more, yeah.
I guess we can say that your assembly line work started again, eh? Seeing over 40 people an hour. You're lucky there's never too many cackling women.
Well, insolence like yours isn't much better.
Insolence?
Good Lord, is this possible?
To what do I owe this honor, pray tell?
Not much, I guess.
I should never have permitted her to come up here.
I wouldn't say that. In fact, she's been a great help.
Thank you kindly, miss.
It's nothing, Father.
But Mrs. Cardinal, the lady you're lodging with, is worried. She called.
I'm going down now. Right now.
Besides, given the kind of day Brother André has had today.
And the one that awaits him tomorrow.
If you only knew the number of calls we've received, the torches are starting to light up again everywhere, all over the city.
As if they wanted the Eucharistic Congress to continue.
But this is where they'll finish up tomorrow.
Oh, I want to see that.
So, 5 o'clock then. And enough with the qui-vive for tonight. Close everything up, Brother André. And I hope your boarders will not prevent you from sleeping tonight.
Don't worry.
Are you sure now? You absolutely must get your rest tonight. Huh? Sending Brother André to Memramcook means putting an end to the expansion of the oratory.
This doesn't come from our Superior General, does it?
The Superior General wrote to us, yes.
And what is he asking us to do, Father Superior?
To finish up on the problem of Brother André and the oratory, which has both occupied and divided the council for much too long. Make your own decision so that we ourselves can settle that matter once and for all.
What is this all about?
What's it about, Father Clement, is we've been talking for many years about sending Brother André to Memramcook, and so far we have done nothing.
In conformity with the wishes of the Superior General, the council has to make a decision. Brother Henry?
It isn't something new. It has been going on since you sent Brother André to, as he said himself, the other side of the tracks for his people to see him, that I've been unable as discipline prefect to bring him into line.
But he continues to fulfill his duties as porter.
What are you reproaching him for?
Ignoring the regulations.
According to you.
For doing whatever he wants.
But I don't know anyone more submissive.
Submissive. As though he was alone on the mountain. Without rules, without supervision.
He obeys Father Superior.
It is Father Superior who is bending to the wishes of Brother André.
If you please.
I will not hear of such things.
He wanted a shelter, a waiting room, an office to receive his people. He got them.
It was needed.
He wanted a house for the personnel of the oratory with the father confessors and lay brothers, even nuns, and a sacristan. He has it all. He wanted a boutique for religious articles. He got it. He wanted to board just whomever under his roof. He does it.
That's enough.
He wanted to go out at night. You gave permission.
Just a few times recently to rest himself after an exhausting day.
But he's not the only one that's exhausted.
And when he'll ask you if he can go away on a trip?
We are not to that point yet.
We have to transfer Brother André to Memramcook in order for him to learn the real meaning of submission and modesty.
But you don't understand, Brother Henry.
I have spoken.
Brother Leon?
The letter from our Superior General is reminding us that for many years our vocation has been to educate, that we have to devote our time to our teaching houses, and that a devotion to St. Joseph must not deter us from it.
Oh, really now?
Furthermore, it has turned into, according to our Superior General and our theologians, a kind of sub-religion.
Oh, but really?
Sub-religion?
It appeals much more to their credulity than their faith.
If you could only hear the confessions that I hear at the oratory.
But to have to cut up your old cassock into little pieces, Brother André, so that some zealous faithfuls can sell them under the counter at the shop as religious articles.
Oh, no.
That your hair and your nail clippings that the nuns retrieve while cleaning up your little room are sold there, too. Do you still call that faith?
Relics of a living man, Brother André.
We must stop this.
Who is going to stop it? You?
I will inquire about these occurrences myself tonight.
You're going to intervene, Father Dion. The same way you dealt with the pile of canes, back braces, and wooden legs that you swept out of the chapel, only to see them replaced the next day so that it wouldn't look like a pawn shop anymore.
But if you had seen and heard Brother André the next day, you would have done the same.
Grateful people have left them there as trophies of recognition.
You've counted how many miracles, Brother André?
It's not for me to keep count.
Until further notice, let us refer to them as healing instead of miracles.
Well, in any case, he gave me back my eyes.
But is it really Brother André who did it all? Or St. Joseph, huh?
Why, the both of them.
Why do you keep repeating, it's him, I am nothing, it's St. Joseph who does it all?
For me, that's true. If I have a gift, who do I get it from?
But in confounding natural and supernatural laws as you do, you mystify the common people.
I do?
The common people, Brother Leon, believe me, have understood for quite a long time much better than you and I who Brother André really is.
And they'll continue to idolize him.
A phenomenon of popular faith always has aberrations, excesses. Must we, because of that, reject it?
But when a phenomenon borders on magic or superstition.
No, but really.
And commerce.
If our Lord ever goes into that shop with a whip.
Never would the Lord chase away Brother André from the oratory. You may take my word for it.
Then it will be up to our Superior General to do it.
Monsignor Bruchesi held an inquiry and found nothing to condemn at the oratory.
We have not made towards Monsignor the Bishop of Montreal the same vows of obedience as toward the Superior General. Neither did you or Brother André.
Brother André has never refused to obey.
And when you ordered him to leave his duties as porter?
Now really? After 40 years?
But look at the work he had to get through every day.
And to install him as the guardian of the oratory up there? The Superior General, like us, was opposed to it.
Formally, well, no.
And when he was told about the project of a basilica?
Which is only in an embryonic state.
A project that you cherish, yes or no, Brother André?
It's not me. It's Saint Joseph.
Isn't it about time that Saint Joseph was given his due place in all of this?
He's always had his due place.
Well, then, let's leave it to him to see if he will undertake the construction of something that will empty our coffers.
And ruin us.
The floor now is all yours. Father Stewart.
I want to add that...
This is enough. Father Stewart.
The number of barrels of oil that I have bought for the oratory that are paid for by the college has tripled since the Eucharistic Congress.
That is because the crowds have tripled.
The figures I have in the debits column for the expenses of the oratory are higher than ever. And I have yet to write anything in the credits column.
Nevertheless.
You're selling your oil for how much, Brother André?
I don't sell it.
Then do your faithful?
Them neither.
I beg of you. I beg of you.
Give and you shall receive is an expression of the gospel that we can't apply to the letter. It is generous but ruinous. The college gives a great deal to the oratory and receives what?
But the oratory is only 6 years old.
Brother André has believed, and maybe still does, that the oratory is self-supporting. The figures say no. In fact, it's the college that supports the oratory.
Just as we have told you.
This projected basilica?
Pure folly.
There you are.
Is this really the right moment, Father Stewart, when the pilgrims abound more than ever?
If I understood what you just read, Father Superior, the greater the number of pilgrims there are, then, the less the Superior General wants it.
The more he worries.
And the more he opposes it.
But it's unstoppable.
You must admit, Father Stewart, that this is not an enterprise like any other, which involves more than the keeping track of numbers or our reasoning. It goes beyond that.
You yourself are counting pilgrims, while forgetting that it is the gift of healing of Brother André which attracts them more than the devotion to Saint Joseph.
Oh, but of course.
No.
Of course.
It's quite clear.
Enough.
Given the age and the poor health of Brother André, how can you thrust upon him a project of a basilica?
And what have you done with faith in all of this?
But surely you're not going to recommend to the Superior General to transfer Brother André to Memramcook.
But anywhere else would be a waste of time.
Father Stewart.
Our houses in Saint-Césaire, in Terrebonne, Saint Jerome, all appear to be too close to Montreal. The same with the Indiana cities. Given the number of people and the great recognition that Brother André has in the United States, we would only be moving the oratory, only for it to rise once more.
But Memramcook in New Brunswick is far away.
Far. And deserted. Exactly.
And you will have, as is usual, no choice, Brother André, but to obey.
To obey. What the provincial superior will order. That's what you want? To go away to Memramcook, that's what you want? told Father Huppier he was able to bear it, not me. So thy will be done. Oh, him, not me. Answer me. I don't hear you anymore. The nights of darkness that Father Huppier spoke about are starting. You think this is the time? Please answer me, Lord. Thy will be done. Thy will be done. Thy will be done.
Stop that. Can you hear them? You have the keys to the front doors. Go and open them. Go on.
Mrs. Cardinal, where I boarded last night, you should have heard what she said. There were meetings of the college's council that made a lot of noise in Côte d'Ivoire. Those in misery, they're everywhere. They can see themselves in you. It's with them, it's for them that you suffer so much. They will never let them send you away. Can you hear them? No, they will never let them send you away. never left the oratory, except for vacations, like when he visited us in Warwick. I always wanted to keep in touch with him. I was learning from afar that he was slowly aging, that he was still seeing people by the assembly line, that he was going through long nights of darkness. It was the price he had to pay, he said, for the basilica to rise.